The South African Post Office is officially in business rescue as the entity struggles to pay creditors over 9 billion rand.
The High Court in Pretoria granted the application yesterday, offering the state-owned entity protection from those it owes money to. It's as turnaround experts work to preserve the company before typically paying creditors a small portion of what is owed.
Well, the Post Office has been losing money every year for a decade now. It's already received about 7.3 billion rand in tax money through government bailouts. 7,000 jobs are said to be at risk as part of the business rescue plan, which aims to save more than 1.3 billion rand in annual pay. Let's talk more about the situation at the Post Office, in particular about the jobs, with the Democratic Postal and Communications Union Secretary General Levy Zwane. Levy, a very good evening to you. Welcome to News at Prime. So what is the latest that you are hearing about the potential job losses at the Post Office?
Good evening, Tembekile and the viewers at home. Firstly, Tembekile, we'd like to indicate as a union, we welcome the decision of the court yesterday to put Post Office under business rescue, because Post Office had minimal options going forward. If it was not on the business rescue, possibility of final liquidation were looming. But we also like to also indicate the following, that even if the minister has deposed an affidavit indicating how are they going to deal with business rescue going forward, we totally don't agree in terms of shedding 7,000 jobs going forward, because Post Office has been shedding jobs since from 2010 to date, and then nothing has been changing. It clearly shows that the real cost of the Post Office is not the employees as such. There is a serious fundamental challenge in terms of how Post Office is being structured going forward. Hence, Minister has admitted that modernizing Post Office is one critical option.
And who are the 7,000 workers who basically now have their jobs on the line? What do they currently do in the organization?
Look, there are various divisions in Post Office. We are talking about the postmen, we are talking about drivers, retail, people who are working at the retail side, and many other people in Sapo who are seriously have been committing themselves to work in Sapo, even under serious difficult situation whereby Sapo has not been given employees and salary increase for the period of 5 years. But these workers has remained loyal to the employer to ensure that they are keeping operations affluent going forward.
The challenge they face, though, is that when you look at the Post Office and what needs to happen to sort of turn it around, there's a very clear call for a complete overhaul of the business model itself to modernize, in fact, the service. And that would require, by some estimates, fewer workers, and for some of these roles to be made redundant. So what then, if we're going into a new era, a more modern Post Office that A, wants to save money, but also can do with fewer workers, what is the middle position according to you? What is the middle ground, excuse me?
Look, Post Office is a state-owned entity. And then as a state, they have an obligation to ensure that they are developmental in their orientation. And then we can tell you one of the major tasks of the state is to ensure that they create jobs and ensure that they provide services. Post Office does not only, it's not only in a business to make profit, but to also provide services to various communities, even at the rural areas. Once you cut the staff, you are literally saying those people who are getting services going forward are no longer going to get those services. Only few people are now going to get services, of which is one of the major things that we are arguing as a union to say cutting a staff in this current environment is not correct at all, because it does not even gonna even service rural people correctly, because many rural people are dependent on Post Office to ensure that they get services.
And what sort of calculations have gone into that from your side as the union to say that every single one of these workers is essential to the Post Office being able to meet its mandate? How do you justify that as a union when you have to go face-to-face with an employer who is set on cutting jobs in order to restore the Post Office to better financial health?
Look, we can tell you, since Post Office has been cutting employees from 2013, Post Office has around almost 21,000 employees, and to date it has almost 11,500 employees. one critical thing that we always argue as the PACU Union to say, cutting staff is not a solution to Sapo, and it's not staff is not only the cost driver of the Sapo, like they are arguing currently, even the minister. One of the critical things that we've been arguing to say, the business model of post office currently, it's in such a way that they are not competing in an environment, and they make post office as if this is a company that have large number of employees, and subsequently management resort to simple matters of cutting staff, of which you don't agree to say each and every employee, when you look at the offices of Post Office National, they are scattered almost 1,000 something offices. It clearly shows that we really need staff to ensure that we provide services to communities and make profit accordingly based on the modern business model of the post company, which a major shareholder has also committed to just fund the turnaround of post office going forward.
Well, these job cuts, we're told, would save the post office about 1.3 billion rand in salaries. Where else would you say the post office would be able to make a cut with that sort of return, considering that there's general agreement that it needs to turn a profit?
Look, post office currently it's not modernized in terms of ensuring that some of the things are computerized. We make example of many things are being done manually, of which it's one of the major cost driver of the post office, because a simple matter like something that should be taken from one place to another, it needs a paper and then a driver to take it there. It's a serious cost in our view that if post office can be modernized, they cannot experience this kind of thing. Also, the structure of post office at the top, if you can look at it, it's very huge. And then it's also one of the major issues to say, when we look at the cost driver of Sapo, many people are looking at the cost driver of the Sapo at the lower level. They are dismissive in terms of checking what is happening at the higher level, whereby management are getting higher salaries more than those lower paid employees, of which, in our view, if the government can focus on those kind of things, we surely believe that post office can save a lot of money.
How then do you intend to go about your resistance, Levi? What will you do to save these jobs?
Look, business rescue practitioner has been recently appointed. And then surely they have to consult unions as one of the major stakeholders. Then I think we have to put our case in terms of what do we view as the best alternative solutions to ensure that workers are not going to be compromised in this situation, whereby management has long, even the major shareholder, has long failed to turn around post office to be a modern company, whereby we are not going to face the current situation that we are facing based on their failure from their side.
Levi Zwane, really good to speak to you. Thank you so much from the Democratic Postal and Communications Union.